Why did Satan appear before God in heaven? So picture this. There's this meeting in heaven, right? The sons of God, these heavenly beings, are gathering around God. They're there, probably talking about important stuff. But then guess who shows up? Satan. Yep, he just walks in like he belongs there. Now, you'd think a place like heaven wouldn't allow someone like Satan to just stroll in. But here he is, right in the middle of the meeting. What's wild is that Satan wasn't kicked out or anything. God didn't even tell him to leave. Instead, God starts talking to him, asking where he's been. This moment sets up the whole story of Job, where Satan challenges Job's faith, and we see how Job's life gets tested, big time. So this meeting isn't just a casual hangout. It's where the drama starts with Satan causing trouble like he always does. It shows that even in the heavenly realm, conflict is brewing, and Job's story is about to get tough. Pretty intense, right? Just imagine Satan casually crashing a meeting with God and the heavenly crew. Stick with me. Let's keep going with what happened after Satan crashed that heavenly meeting. God asks Satan, "Where have you been?" And Satan just straight up says, "I've been roaming around the earth, going back and forth," like he's just out there wandering around, looking for trouble. And God, instead of shutting him down, says something that sets the stage for everything that's about to happen. God's like, "Have you noticed my servant Job? There's nobody like him on earth. He's blameless, upright, fears God, and shuns evil." Now here's where things get interesting. Satan, being who he is, doesn't miss a beat. He basically says, "Well, of course Job is faithful. You've blessed him with everything. He's rich, has a big family, and his life is smooth. But take away all that, and he'll curse you to your face." It's a bold challenge, right? Satan's basically saying Job's faith isn't real, that it's only because his life is good. And God, instead of just ending the conversation, actually accepts the challenge. He tells Satan, "All right, everything Job has is in your power, but don't lay a finger on the man himself." Now this is where things get heavy. Satan leaves, and soon after, Job's life starts to fall apart. His livestock gets stolen, his servants are killed, and worst of all, his kids die in a freak accident. Just like that, Job loses almost everything. But here's the wild part. Job doesn't curse God. Instead, he mourns, tears his clothes and shaves his head, which was a sign of deep grief back then. But through all that pain, Job still praises God, saying, "The Lord gave and the Lord has taken away. May the name of the Lord be praised." This moment shows us something deep about faith. It's not just about believing when things are good. Real faith holds on even when everything is falling apart. Job's story starts here, in that meeting with God and Satan. And it teaches us that faith isn't about the blessings we have, but about trusting God no matter what. So what happens next? Well, Satan's not done yet. He's going to come back, and things are going to get even tougher for Job. So let's keep rolling with Job's story. After all that disaster hit, Job losing his livestock, his servants, and his kids, you'd think Satan might back off, right? But nope. Satan isn't satisfied. He goes back to God for round 2. So, just like before, the sons of God are having another meeting, and Satan shows up again. God asks him the same question, "Where have you been?" And Satan gives the same answer, saying he's been roaming the earth. Then God, knowing what's coming, brings up Job again. He says, "Have you considered my servant Job? Even after all you did, he still holds on to his integrity. He hasn't cursed me." But Satan isn't convinced. He's like, "What? Skin for skin. A man will give everything he has for his own life. But stretch out your hand and strike his flesh and bones, and he will surely curse you to your face." In other words, Satan is saying, sure, Job's still faithful because he hasn't suffered enough. But if you mess with his health, he'll break. God, knowing Job's heart, tells Satan, "All right, he's in your hands. Do whatever you want, but you can't kill him." This is where things get even worse for Job. Satan leaves and strikes Job with painful sores from head to toe. We're talking about some serious, nasty boils that cover his whole body. Job is in so much pain that he takes a piece of broken pottery to scrape himself just to get some relief. He's sitting in ashes, totally miserable. Now here's where it gets really tough. Job's wife sees him suffering and says, "Are you still maintaining your integrity? Just curse God and die." She's basically saying, why keep holding on? Just give up already. But Job, even in his agony, replies, "You're talking like a foolish woman. Should we accept good from God and not trouble?" In all this, Job still doesn't sin by cursing God. So what's going on here? Job's faith is being tested to the extreme. He's lost everything: his wealth, his kids, his health, and now even his wife is telling him to give up. But Job stays strong, even when it feels like his world is falling apart. But it doesn't end there. Job's friends are about to show up, and they're going to try to help him understand what's going on. But instead, they'll make things even more complicated. They think they know why all this is happening, but they're missing the bigger picture. So in this part of Job's story, we see that faith isn't just about standing tall when things are good. It's about hanging on when everything around you is crumbling, even when the people closest to you don't get it. Job's strength comes from his deep belief that God is still in control, even when life doesn't make sense. And that's a powerful message for anyone going through